If you'd enjoyed learning about those potting medias and how to take better care of your houseplants, you may enjoy another event. You still have 3 days left to visit the 1993 Pennsylvania Farm Show in Harrisburg. This is a wonderful opportunity for the public to learn more about agriculture and how it affects each of us. For the first time in farm show history, there will be a 2-acre lawn and landscape exhibit under roof for you to visit. And one of the most popular displays is the apple display. Did you know that last year more than 550 million pounds of apples were produced in Pennsylvania? Let's find out what else we should know about Pennsylvania apples.
Now I go to the store and I look at these apples and I say, I'm going to pick the reddest one, I'm feeling them, I don't know what I'm feeling for. What is the trick here to buying a good apple?
Well, you're like about 97% of the rest of the consumers.
I feel better then. Okay, good.
Because color is what consumers look for. That's the #1 thing. And really, there are a lot of good apples we grow right here in Pennsylvania that maybe don't have the wonderful deep red color, but are excellent quality apples. The main things you look for when you're going into the store, make sure that the apples are not bruised or have any cuts on the surface of the skin. And you want to make sure those apples are cold and kept in cold storage in a cold area of the store. That's really important to maintain the crispness.
But they're
of the
not
apple.
in bins, you mean? I shouldn't get it out of a bin?
Well, they should be in a cool area.
Okay.
We want to store our long-term storage for apples. We'd like to keep them right around 31 degrees. So we want to keep them real cold. That maintains that good crisp quality that most people look for.
Now when you say bruise, I don't know if you guys can see this, if Sandy can get a shot of this. This has like little dents in it where it looks like somebody else has been feeling it. Is that bruised or is that just natural?
They may have been handled a little bit roughly there, and that might be why some of those little indentations are showing up. Sometimes you can see it better on a lighter skinned apple. Most of these apples are really in pretty good shape though. All the apples we have here are grown right here in the Lehigh Valley, and maybe we could spend a little bit of time talking about some of the varieties that we grow.
Yeah, wait, you're saying all these in the Lehigh Valley?
Yes.
Because I thought apples came from Washington.
Well, a lot of people think that because Washington State apple growers have done a great job marketing their apples.
They're just selling better than everybody else.
That's right. There's a real critical mass of them. They can pool their money and do a lot of advertising. But the apples we grow here are really very, very good.
Well, tell me about what do we have here?
Well, let's look at this one first. Okay. This is probably the #1 apple in the United States, and most people can identify this one. It has the 5 points on the bottom, and it's called Delicious, or Red Delicious.
Just hold that up this way. So the points are the trick here as far as Red Delicious.
Right.
Now, we talk about eating apples. My mom always talked about baking apples. She said, oh, I can't bake a pie. I don't have any baking apples. Was she lying to me or what? Do you really need a special?
Red Delicious is most popular as a snacking apple, and it has a fairly mild, sweet taste to it. It can be used in salads and things like that. It's not one of our better apples that we'd use for baking purposes. So.
Okay. How about a baking apple then?
Well, there's several different types here that can be used for baking. One apple that probably is not a very good apple to eat out of your hand is the Rome, and Rome has a beautiful red color to it.
Yeah.
This is probably a better apple for baking and cooking purposes. It's a medium tart to sweet apple, another very popular apple that's grown in the U.S. and here in the East.
What makes it better then? Is it the taste? Is it the consistency of it? Because this one feels the same as this one. If I was picking these up trying to figure out which one to buy,
it's the chemical makeup inside the apple, just the nature and properties.
Because
of it.
I guess I always thought, you know, Macintosh, Rome, whatever, Red Delicious. What the name wasn't anything. Somebody else made it up. Some guy that was selling them made up a different name for them. But they really should care about the name.
No, yes, absolutely. There are over 2,500 varieties of apples.
Well, that'll make it easy.
Yeah, but really only about 15 varieties account for about 90% of the sales in the U.S. So if you get to know about a half a dozen varieties, these are some of the main ones we have here.
Okay. What else do you have then?
These
look more like what you'd find in a field, kind of thing.
Well, these are stamens. This is a good multi-purpose apple. It does fairly well for baking. It's not the best for baking, but this is one I really like the flavor.
Now, see, I probably wouldn't buy this because it doesn't have the red look to it. It's not shiny. Right. That's okay. That's normal for this apple.
Yeah, that's the shininess or the deep red color really is not an indication of the quality of the apple.
Okay.
Let's take this.
Make sure he gets this before you do the magic trick here.
Yeah. Well, we've got this is great for if you like to snack on apples.
I thought that was a Christmas decoration left over.
But you just put the apple in there, push it through, and you can pull out a nice
Okay, great.
Bite of Stamen there. Stamen has almost a wine-like juice flavor to it. It's a good,
it's very juicy,
good flavorful apple. Yeah.
I feel like Brian Gumboldt here. What else do we have then? I'll eat this. You talk.
You mentioned Macintosh, and Macintoshes are notorious for not having a good deep red color.
You see, I would never buy this in the store because.
Well, if you were deciding to make a pie, there are a lot of people that Macintosh is their first choice for making pies. Also, it's a pretty good apple for making applesauce too, and even eating fresh. It's a Macintosh have a more tart, juicy flavor to them than some of the others.
So that could go either way there.
Yes.
All right, what else? What else do we have?
Let's see. We talked about Rome. Here's one that's been around for a while. These are Jonathans. Jonathans typically don't get quite as large as some of our other apples. Jonathans often have this little striped characteristic. You can see the stripes showing up on that apple. Jonathans have a rich flavor. They're great for snacking. It's a semi-tart apple. Does well for salads and for baking and that sort of thing.
I got to ask you a question because it's in the news a lot as far as the pesticide thing. Do we really have to worry, especially I'm talking about local apples here, do we really have to worry about pesticides? What's the concern?
Well, a smart thing with any fruit is to wash it when you get it home. The pesticides that are used, our growers try to follow integrated pest management practices, and that simply means trying to use the least amount of pesticides possible and still get good quality fruit that will sell. But any possible pesticide residue that might be remaining on an apple or in an apple, the nutritional benefits of an apple far outweigh any negative effect that you might have.
I'm going to have to eat a lot of apples for it to finally get to me, huh?
Well, it would be impossible.
Okay, good. That's good to know. Once I get them home, storage-wise, and how long do I have to really eat them? How many should I buy at once if I'm...
I would get most people buy apples about once a week.
Okay.
People who consume apples regularly. The thing you want to do is get it in the refrigerator immediately, in a cold part of the refrigerator, and take good care of it. There's a lot of way apples are sold and marketed in the stores. This is a pretty popular pack, a 3-pound pack that's produced like this. These happen to be some stamens. And you can buy apples like this, or you can buy them on the shelf. I have one apple here that was not grown. An outsider. It was not grown in the Lehigh Valley, and you can see they sometimes put stickers on there.
Granny Smith.
But yeah, this happens to be a Granny Smith. We have a tough time growing Granny Smiths really well in the Lehigh Valley
because of the climate.
Yeah, it's a real long season variety. It takes a long time to mature. Usually we get a couple frosts before this is quite mature enough to harvest. But you know, cost-wise, we can buy about 3 of these branded apples for what we can buy a nice bag like this of good apples that are great for snacking.
Okay, great, thanks. Now I want my mom to pick up some of these. I'll be home this weekend. Make a couple